Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Smite European Invitational here at the ESL CM Storm Arena. We just had one of the most exciting games of the day. It was a 50-minute match between SK Gaming and Bipolar Method, where SK came out barely on top. We have another exciting game coming up to you. I'm going to toss it to our casters. When we come back, we're going to get right into it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the bordello of casting in the back of the ESL stage, ladies and gentlemen. My name is HiRezBart, and I am joined by, once again, Jason Kaplan. That is a fantastic thing that has just happened, as I see someone has brought a sandwich that I intend to make disappear very quickly.
To slaughter. In between
these breaks. But, ladies and gentlemen, our next game coming up is going to be Cognitive EU versus SK Gaming, who we just saw win an hour-long game against Bipolar Method. You know, do they have anything left in the tank is the question.
They have to. I mean, if they expect to win tournaments like this, they have to have that drive inside of them. They have to have the energy, the motivation, because 7,500 euros are at stakes for first place.
That's right, yeah. First place does take down 7,500 euros, and then you're looking at a 15,000 euro total prize pool. So there's a lot at stake to getting first place. In fact, the difference between first and second place is 4,500 euros. It goes 7.5, and then second place is 3,000. So it's a really, really big difference, in fact, between those two. So getting first place in this tournament really means a lot.
And also the glory.
Yeah.
Of being the best team in Europe.
You're the best team in Europe if you win this tournament.
Yeah, and every team's competing for that as well. And the thing is, being the team to beat kind of really helps out when you're looking for, well, SK doesn't really need sponsorships. They're SK Gaming, everyone knows them. But, you know, for Cognitive, they would definitely probably like to have that come in. Not to mention all the fans you get from it when you stream. And you have the people cheering for you when you're out here playing.
Yeah, you can put that banner on the bottom of your team that says, best carry in Europe, or however they like to do it. So we are really looking forward to getting into this next match. Cognitive, we saw win a pretty spectacular Zeus game using Athena and Hunboss to set up all of that Zeus burst damage, and then they actually lost their first game. So they are 1-1 so far in the group stage, going up against the currently undefeated SK Gaming, who's gone 2-0 over some very, very strong opponents. And we'll be actually moving into that game shortly. What we really have to look forward to, I think, will come down to, once again, I feel like jungler play is going to be really important in this game. You know, will Sayo be able to make it happen? Will Tyr get banned out against him?
Yeah, when we think about that last game, Tyr, he got the first blood. Actually, he made the first blood happen for SK. He was able to, be able in that gank. But I feel like after a certain point, he didn't really do much.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just didn't seem like he did too much in the fights after that. Like once he got into the 30, 40-minute mark, that's where he kind of seemed to fall off. And on the other side of that, I don't know. I mean, I'm just curious because like in that game alone, it was just a lot of push your lane, get the CS, get the goal, get the experience, then group middle. Maybe something will happen, maybe something doesn't happen. And that's just kind of how it developed, and that's how it kind of stayed for a very long time.
That's right. We're going to take a look at the group standings here. It's a 2-0 in favor of SK Gaming. Vengeance Esports at a 1-1. Bipolar also 1-1. And then Cognitive there has lost both of their games. No, that's... Wait, what? That's not right.
No, Cognitive is 1-1.
Vengeance is 0-2.
Yes, Vengeance is 0-2.
Yeah, Cognitive is 1-1. Vengeance is 0-2. So Vengeance still looking for their first win. We'll see them in the final game out of the group stage, where Cognitive is looking to maybe go 2-1 here in the group stage. So we'll see what we're able to if Cognitive is able to pull it out of SK, give SK their first loss in this round of 4. Then we'll be likely moving directly in to the finals, but we'll have more information on that, ladies and gentlemen, because it's time to toss it back over to the stage where our hosts are waiting. For Jason, my name is Bart, and we'll see you guys for the event in just a few moments.
Hey, we are back, guys. I have with me Gortek from SK. You just had a sick game. You're ready to go on your second one. But, you know, I feel this, like, this brotherhood with you because I was reading your profile, and you love Pokemon, and you play support. And that's what I'm all about. I love Pokemon, I play support. That's all it says next to me. So, first off, what's your favorite Pokemon?
Probably Charizard. I don't know. I still haven't played it in a while, you know. It was like a game growing up, when I grew up, yeah.
Oh yeah, you only play the 151 Pokemon. The rest are just nonsense, absolutely. But the answer was Articuno, that's the best Pokemon. Anyway, second question. You play support, you've tried a couple of the other roles. You played mid, you played carry, you played jungle. you keep coming back to support. What is it about that role that you really like?
Well, it's just like going in, like tanking up all the damage, like setting up kills. It's like in every game I play, I always want to play the tank. Yeah.
Excellent.
All right, I've got Game Hunter here. Now, Game Hunter, you're arguably one of the most experienced players on the side of Cognitive, probably about 2,600 hours combined, I think, from all game types, so definitely respected in the community in that regard. Now tell me, you were well known for your Neath play early on in the piece. Tell me, why haven't we seen Neath at all today? It seems like it's been very much an Apollo fest.
Well, I mean, if I can say something about being a ranged AD, it's just mostly farming in lane, because like a ranged AD is mostly made for the tower pushing and the like AD damage and range. So just farm in lane, go for stack items if really necessary, and yeah, that's basically my playstyle.
Yeah, okay, now you guys obviously coming in with a little bit of a changed up roster. You're bringing Mugiwara in as, he's your official sub, so he's stepped in, and you picked up Proxy QQ as well as a bit of a ring in. So, you know, has your game style changed a little bit with these changes to your roster? Is it much the same Cognitive EU, or have you thrown a few different things into the mix with these new players?
Well, with the Mugi and Proxy, and of course with Resty and mid, I don't know what's really going on there, but of course, I'm trusting I have the trust in my teammates, and I can only hope for the best, and of course communicate when something is going on, maybe help them out.
After all, they say the ability to adapt to changing circumstances is a hallmark of some of the best esports players and teams in the world. Well, gentlemen, shake hands up here on the stage. Oh, no, not okay. Yep, right, all right. Do you guys want to shake hands before we get started?
Little handshake?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Round of applause for these guys. We're going to see SK Gaming go up against Cognitive EU in just a moment. That's going to be a blockbuster. SK Gaming coming off a bit of a high so far. They might be taking their foot off the pedal slightly, but they have still got a lot to play for. They want to make sure they're strong heading into these last few games.
Absolutely. It's not going to be an easy path, no matter how good they've played before, because there's always more games to play. And guiding us through those games, we have our excellent casters. We're going to hand it back to HiRezBart and Jason Kaplan.
Hello, good friends of the audience, and well, those viewing from home or from the crowd here at Gamescom 2013, we are very excited to bring you this next match. Once again, as you heard, well, all of us say now many times, as you see my sweet bottle cap there, I'll move that out of the way. It's going to be SK Gaming versus Cognitive EU. We see both these teams with some dominant wins, but SK yet to fall, and maybe Cognitive will be the one to take them down.
It very well could be. I mean, Cognitive, they looked hit or miss in their first game.
Yeah, true.
They pretty much lost that one pretty hard, but in their second game, very dominant over Vengeance, and that's going to give them a confidence boost, not to mention SK being 2-0 now, winning that 53-minute-long slugfest coming out against Bipolar. So anything can really happen in this game. I'm curious to see, like you said before, if Tyr will be banned out or will be let through. And also Bacchus, still being let through, still being played every game, and honestly, still being very impactful.
Yeah, there's you know, we haven't seen Chang'e yet. We've seen her banned out in almost every game. I think all games she was banned out. She another one of those really dominant solo laners and just brings that massive team fight ultimate, you know, that stuns for additional seconds depending on how many gods it hits. So it's just a beast. And so I think teams feel like they have to ban her because they don't want to lose to her team fight presence. And then we've seen most of our bans seem to revolve around keeping out kind of control-based gods. So, you know what? We haven't seen a lot of Sobex banned, but we have seen the Athena ban come and go. And we've seen, you know, basically the mid gods trying to be controlled. So Agni will get banned or first picked, and those types of things. Or what traditionally would be a mid god now, they play them often in those solo side lanes. And really, these teams, I don't think in any games back-to-back have we seen the exact same style of play, right? Where, you know, we saw Cognitive go back-to-back with 1v2s, actually, so we did. But, you know, in general, it's been series to series has been fairly different and disparate in how these teams have elected to line up.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see how the meta's kind of developing. Like I asked you before, North America, or the North American meta versus the European meta. Can you kind of give us a little bit more insight to that? Because
sure, yeah. I mean, as you've seen with European play, I mean, they're really, really keen on finding the bad matchups or the good matchups, depending on which side of the ball you're on, right? So that's how they kind of play the game. You know, they look for those dual lane mids to go up against gods that kind of have to go mid like a Zeus. But on the other side, you know, there's teams that kind of want that matchup, you know, and they will pick that. The North American scene is a little bit more in the kind of, you know, solo lane, in the long lane, or solo lane, the short lane, the 2v2 in the long lane, and then the mid laners with a jungler. It's much more of a 1-1-1-2 style, or 1-1-2 jungle. It's much more set for North America, whereas they really like to mix things up here on EU.
And actually, one thing I'm really curious about is, I'm always really curious about the meta, but in terms of how has it developed over time, because you've been with Smite since the beginning, you know how it's kind of developed, and where's it going to go from here? Like, what's the next step?
Well, if I knew that, I'd be playing for one of the teams, I think. But I don't know, man. It's like, you know, when we started this whole shindig kind of, you know, broadcasting the games, there was tanks were very dominant. You would see teams picking 3 tanks and really running them as frontline bruisers and just zoning out the other team and pushing through them using their survivability. And then you saw a period where it was very, very dominant. The junglers were extremely dominant, and them being kind of the highest priority of picks. Then we saw, you know, a period where there was actually a god roaming with the jungler, and they would run 2 roamers with a 1-1-1. And now we've kind of settled on this this more or less 1-1-2 with a jungler, but where that 2-lane goes has really kind of changed back and forth depending on who's playing.
I think from well, obviously I don't have extensive knowledge on the Smite, but I think there's one big problem I see with all these teams and the way they've been playing is, after a certain point, if they don't have a giant gold lead, they don't know their next move.
Yeah.
They're like, well, where do we go from here? Do we try to contest Gold Fury? Do we try to go for Fire Giant? I mean, they just have that hesitation, and, you know, looking across the board on other MOBAs, you know, teams have ironed that out. They know exactly what to do when, and to me, I think that's maybe the next step, is that if the games do start to continue to get to that late game point, maybe they need to work on their late game presence, their late game focus, where to go, what plays to make happen, maybe their confidence a little bit, because they're obviously offline, you know, at this tournament, you're a lot more scared to make a move that you could potentially lose.
That's right.
Lose the game from.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be moving into the game here. We've been pulled into the picking and banning phase. It is going to be game number 1 of SK versus the gentlemen of Cognitive EU. As you can see them popping in. So Cognitive is going to be your blue team. They're the left side of your screen, and they just go ahead and ban Tier right out.
Yeah, let's just not deal with that. We don't want to see him on it again. And for good reason. He's done phenomenally well with this so far.
So Tier and Chang'e, the last 2 gods released, have been removed from the pool already here, and now it comes down to maybe the actual picks and bans where they've gone ahead and got rid of the last 2 gods they don't have a lot of experience with, and tend these 2 to have very strong team fight presence. Tier can just control people for so long with his 1-2 combination. Chang'e with her team fight ultimate. Naja taken off the board. They don't want to deal with a flash farmer and kind of hyper carry like that. What will SK ban out? It's got to be they don't want to give something away. Its first pick, as Cognitive EU does have
Maybe
it.
Agni?
It could be the Agni. It's going to be Apollo. So there it is. The Jason Kaplan ban.
Gosh. Yeah, I mean, I'm sad to see it because it's been so nice seeing him throughout the tournament so far, but we've seen his impact in every game, just how devastating he can really be. The threat of that split push is just so hard for teams to deal with. They don't necessarily know how to counter it, or maybe that person that they need to go head-to-head against them, they need in their fights because they don't have mobility, but I still see Athena locked in.
I think SK is going to pick something a little bit unorthodox here. Because they banned out that Apollo, they feel, I think they're going to try to...
Artemis.
I don't know what it's going to be. Artemis is a beast, man. It's going to be Shibalanke, so I think this is going to be a Shibalanke, like, all-in for support 1 sort of game. Or they're going to try to get him way out ahead because they're going to get rid of the big threat of split push from that Apollo, and they're going to try to let Shibalanke just stay in a lane and farm up until he has god items and then just come through and beat everyone up.
So do you think that means he's going to be middle most likely, or do you think he's going to go to a side lane?
I think it'll be the dual lane mid, and then they'll look to rotate him over to a side lane as they move into the mid lane.
But we do have Athena getting through, though. We should probably talk about her a little bit. I mean, she's been picked quite a bit. She's also been banned out quite a bit today.
Yeah.
And they're going to have, obviously, that taunt coming in big for her. And then, but then on the other side, you have Bacchus to kind of, I don't necessarily stop that, but the initiation out of him is just so strong.
And SK going to get Isis yet again. I think they've picked her in every game they've played to great effect. Oh, Sayo. Is he going to play Kali in the mid lane? Or in the jungle, even? He definitely likes his god. He feels like she has a tremendous potential. One of the things she brings to the table, and they are going to lock her in, so we are going to see a Kali in competitive play, ladies and gentlemen. What Kali brings to the table is that ultimate, actually, when she fires it off, will remove CC from her. She can cast it while CC'd. So if she does get caught out of position by that Athena and a taunt, she can get out of jail for free without blowing an active ability. And that will happen every 90 seconds. And yeah, they are going to pick that Zeus again. They really like this Athena and Zeus combination. It guarantees a certain amount of stacks being built during that ultimate period. And so they're going to try to rely, I think, once again on this 1v2, and it's going to be Hercules for the solo lane, of course, for SK, still on the board, and they're going to take him right up. They're going to rely on Shibalanke for their range damage. Kali is going to be their melee carry, and they're going to have Hercules in the solo lane, and Isis in a solo lane. This is Bacchus Shibalanke, probably going to be going to the mid, I would suspect. But we will see how it all ends up, Jason, in just a few short moments.
So with these two lineups, who do you kind of favor early on? Who do you kind of favor? Well, I know you're going to say in the team fights already with over for the COG Gaming team.
Yeah, I think they definitely do have that team fight presence. However, you know, they have a better maybe burst potential. I don't know, dude. Both of them have really strong. So for the cognitive team, right, they have that Athena ult or that Athena taunt to set everything up, and the ult to kind of follow it up with. And then they have the Raw Beam to do a lot of damage, and they have the Zeus ultimate. However, on the other side, the Hercules Boulder is a huge team fight presence, and the Ice ultimate and Bacchus ultimate gives a lot of burst as well. But as you see on the matchup screen, it is going to be COG EU going up against SK Gaming. I'm going to go ahead and make the changes to my spectator client so that doesn't confuse anyone. Once again, it is COG EU on the blue team going up against SK on the red team in this matchup. And ladies and gentlemen, we are moving into the map. We are underway. Let's go ahead and introduce your teams on the blue side of the map. They are the bottom of the mini-map. They are Cognitive EU 1-1 in the group stage, Mugiwara, Rastarian, Game Hunter, Proxy QQ, and Sprayarn. On the other side of the map, they are the red team fighting out of the top. They will be on the right side of your screen of the UI in the spectator mode. They are undefeated in the group stage. Ladies and gentlemen, SK Gaming, they are Smek, Gortok, Suntouch, Zalia, and Sayo. And the teams are starting to move out, and will we have that early aggression that we've seen from every other game so far?
Yes.
Yes is the answer.
I'll give you a one-word answer right there. Yes, I mean, we do see some wards already coming down. They want to be able to spot them coming in. We even do see a defensive ward coming out of Raw right there over on that right side. And Gortok, he actually hasn't even okay, let's say he hasn't really have left base right there, but right now.
No, he's recalled. So what they do is he leaps out of the pool, runs up, places the ward, and recalls back, and then, you know, so you see the aggressive wards basically. SK does not want to get caught out by this really, really wide rotation around the Gold Fury, so they have that ward out there, and then they have another one just spotting on anyone coming in trying to challenge this right side Gold camp, which is, it looks like that's where they're going to look to go. Another thing to note is Sayo is sitting on a red pot. Once again, he's gone for that Potion of Physical Might, which is additional 20 power for 5 minutes. That's once again a very aggressive play. We saw that from his tier as well, and looks like this. And Kali snowballs are probably the hardest in the game. If she gets ahead, she is just ridiculously powerful. So smart stuff. They're going to ward up the right side camp, and they're going to take the left side camp. But look, that ward spotted them out trying to make their way across the Gold Fury in that very, very aggressive rotation. So that SK ward already paying its worth in knowledge, and they're going to get these side lane Gold Furies, and both of them, in fact, while the junglers start their path on the other side of the map. So SK will have the early advantage in gold and experience.
And we've already seen previously how dangerous that can really be if the team gets an early lead on both those. Typically, the team that does get the early control of that, they kind of maintain it till a good portion of the game. And SK, we've seen them do it before. They can definitely do it again, and they obviously do have that lead. And to me, actually no, not to me, what is the lane to watch, do you think, for you?
You know, I think you got to watch this this mid lane, because the damage potential between the Shibalanke and the Bacchus, that Bacchus knockup can set up the Shibalanke combo. They have enough burst to really do just a lot of damage to the Zeus. Zeus can get out of jail free to some extent with his #2 giving him slow immunities, but I feel like if they take out the Zeus, they're able to convert some kills on him early and keep him shut down. He won't be able to have that same presence, because we saw him be really, really nasty in the game that COG EU did win over Vengeance.
And you would think in this 1v2 situation in that middle lane that he'd have a tougher time. Like you mentioned before, he doesn't have extreme wave clear in these early levels. He needs to get something under his belt before he's able to do that. And right now, they really haven't been able to punish him. But Sayo, with that red pot, where is he going to go? Because he's, I mean, obviously you don't want to waste it since you invested money into that. What lane is his lane to gank?
Yeah, and he's quite a bit ahead in terms of his damage. I mean, with the red pot and the red buff, he's hitting so hard, hitting for 100 damage already on these Gold Furies, as you can see. And so if he goes in and looks for that gank, it's just basically pure burst damage is all he's bringing to the table, but it's just so much of it. And those follow-up auto attacks are really strong. And in fact, it looks like he's going to rotate around for the respawning of these side lane Gold Furies. You see Thor coming over as well. And if Thor looks to try to initiate onto Sayo, he's going to take a lot of damage, because that Kali can just do so much work at this point in the game. On the other side of the map, you see Athena going to challenge Shibalanke and Bacchus, but I think he's going to think better of that. And that's really why you see this this dual lane mid coming out from SK, is they really want to control these side lane camps. But that's why the Zeus pick has once again become so popular for Rastarian, is that he can throw out that Chain Lightning, build the stacks, detonate, take those side lane camps without putting himself into tremendous risk as just the one mid laner. So it's a give and take. You know, they get the Zeus a little more built up. He will take, you know, some harass, and his tower will eat some damage. But if he's able to maintain long enough, that will certainly go in his favor. One thing we haven't seen much of is Neath, though, who we do see here on Game Hunter, going to be in that range carry role. They're going to get a pin off on the Zalia, who's going to have the driving strike out of there. and maybe recalling as well here shortly, just trying to hold this lane down.
In terms of how the lane phase is going, honestly, I would probably give that over to Cog, because you saw right there, like, they're putting a lot of pressure on Hercules. They're trying to force him out of this lane, where Zeus is having a pretty free time in that middle lane. He hasn't really been taking much damage. He hasn't been shoved out just yet. And I guess that's the danger of this side lane right now that Cog has.
Bach is waiting in the wings, but standing right next to a ward of Team Cognitive EU, so he not going to be able to rotate in there too well, unfortunately for him. You know, they got to keep the wards up. They can't get caught out from behind by Sayo, who just is going to be doing a lot of damage. He can put in so much with this Kali. I'm so excited to see if he's able to snowball. This game seems to come down to, okay, can Kali get that snowball up and running? Can he get some early kills and get some early items, get that Void Blade really fast? If not, he's just going to melt to the basically that taunt. If they get the taunt down and they get the Neath Root as well, and then any kind of the Zeus damage, and you can imagine they're going to focus him. Unless someone gets really out of control, like unless this Hercules or Shibalanki gets out of control in the early game, it's going to be ugly. We see Thor up in the air, Proxy looking for a kill. He's going to go in on the right side. They're going to find Smek. Shibalanki forced to dash out of it. Do they have the damage to clean him up? They're going to miss that. The stun comes out, and that's going to be first blood in favor of Game Hunter. So no Mjolnir's attunement going to hit, but Game Hunter would pick up that kill, and that's probably where they want it anyway. They need to get that Neath up and running as fast as possible, because her range and damage really, you know, is going to be nice, but it's not going to be as strong as Shibalanki. Needs more of a CC'er than a full-on range carry.
Okay, and I was actually, you know, about to ask you, because as we're watching, both junglers were being very farm-heavy. They were just going around the jungle farm as much as possible, and you didn't actually see them going for any sort of ganks until we just saw Thor come in. But Kali, just sitting in the jungle, hasn't really been able to gank anything just yet. And who does that really benefit? I mean, does he just need this farm, or does he need the kills to really snowball?
I think Kali just needs to get ahead and stay ahead. So, you know, the kills, if the game is running at a slower pace, Kali farms very quickly, and she's in a good spot. But as you see there, that's a lot of assists coming out. They got 2 assists on the board, plus the kill gold, and that's going to be a nice tick up in gold. In fact, about 800 gold difference. And looking at Proxy basically about 50 gold or less behind the Kali. So you're not really seeing that Kali getting far ahead at this point. But Sayo does have another red buff and red pot active. But just active warding is going to keep him from really being able to gank, because he has to be able to get in a position to use his auto attacks, and that's not the easiest thing in the world when they know you're coming.
And you see what Mugiwara actually picked up to kind of, I guess, stop Sayo with that Kali? He went for a shell, so he's going to have that protection for his allies. He's expecting, I'm assuming, them to be ganked over in the sideline quite a bit, which right now, you see Sayo is on the side of that map. He might actually end up going in for this, and honestly, I think it's a smart play. Make sure they make it through the laning phase, make sure Sayo can't get snowballed. And if you do that, I mean, he's not worthless late game, but he's not going to be that tanky. He's going to be very easy to kill, especially with their combo.
Yeah, it's like Kali is almost like a slightly less reliable Naja. Like Naja brings a lot of big plays to the table, has a lot of kind of anti-tank damage capabilities, is a hyper carry, and Kali has that kind of damage output, but is not anywhere near as guaranteed as Naja with that ultimate. You know, if you hit it, you get quite a bit of damage. They're putting a lot out onto Stun Touch here. There's going to be an ETH ultimate use. It's not going to be blocked. That's going to come in and stun. Auto attacks coming out. Will they have enough to pick him up? Spray misses the beam. Will he have the number 3? He won't. In fact, he's going to be forced back. Here comes Thor rotating over as well. He may look to dive here. Proxy going to go in. He's not. So they're actually going to miss an opportunity there. Left side lane. You see Hercules and ETH kind of just going back and forth. Whereas for the moment, it appears that there will be no more action. Zeus did fall in the mid lane, and we're looking at 1-1 in kills, ladies and gentlemen. If you are just joining us, we are in Game 5 of the group stage. We have one more game remaining after this one in this stage. SK is currently undefeated, going up against the 1-1 Cognitive EU, and we are 6.5 minutes into this game here. So we'll be moving out of the group stage and to taking a look at the best of 3 finals. So that is what you have to look forward to for the remainder of your time here with Gamescom. We'll see. Maybe we're gonna look at scheduling and see if we have time to broadcast all the games, including the 3rd, 4th game. But for right now, the plan is to move directly into the finals, because we have to make sure that there's time to play those games. All the people are here and excited. Thor rotating over to the right side lane here. Will he find the kills that he so desperately wants to find? He'll find a Sayo in the jungle and spin out on top of him, but can't really trade too well at this point in the game. Yeah, you see the Bloodlash coming out, a silence as well. Will he get the stun? They will, and this is going to be a dead Proxy, and that is the danger of trying to fight Kali. That Bloodlash just takes you by surprise. Here is a Athena ultimate. It is going to hit Bacchus, but not do too much damage. Fighting now in the beam is going to be Smek, who will get picked up due to that taunt. And for now, it's a fair trade. I think SK maybe came out a little bit behind. They lose their Shibalanki, who they really need to get going as well as possible.
Yeah, he's going to be missing out on all that farm. He's going to be missing out on all of the experience that he's really going to need. And right now, I mean, it's still a relatively slow game. Sayo, who got the assist. He didn't get, actually, no, he did get 1 kill. He does have 1 assist. So he's starting to get going. Is this the early aggression they needed? Is this the early amount of kills and farm that he needed to get snowballing, or is he already behind at this point?
No, I think he's pulled ahead in net value. He's up by about 100 on all the other players. He's going to get Devour's Gloves very early if he can build those stacks. He actually has some decent positioning here in the mid lane. Bacchus knockup, here it is, coming in. They want to find Zeus. They have the stun out. The ultimate's being used by Sayo. It's being channeled as he spins around, and they'll pick up yet another kill, and that's more assist gold coming up for Sayo, and this is really what they need to do, because once he gets those Devour's Gloves finished, he can solo down that Gold Fury, one of the biggest strengths of Kali.
And when you say snowball, are you talking like he can 1v5, or are you talking like this could be like a 20-minute game, or what?
It's possible. I mean, Kali puts out a huge amount of damage. I mean, that Blood Lash, the #2 cone ability, will be hitting for about 400 or 500 damage on the base plus the Devour's Gloves, so he can zone out really well, and he can really bust the game open. He can get those Gold Furies, so you can have one of the only gods besides really Arachne that can effectively solo the Gold Fury at lower levels than normal. Basically, Kali gains passively lifesteal when at low health. And so when you have added lifesteal on top of that, it's really pretty easy and straightforward for him to do it. Plus he has an attack steroid, basically a damage steroid. So you hit the #1 and then you hit the #2, and basically that will help as well. And gods like Neith and the Zeus and the Ra will just melt in the face of Kali.
Well, let's see if that's actually going to develop here. And Sayo's still sticking around, still farming quite a bit. He has a pretty good net worth already built up for him, leading his team currently. And the rest of the lanes, I mean, how are they going? I mean, we see right now some early items coming in, but not really a lot built up just yet. And, you know, with Kali so far ahead right now, do you expect to see the early Gold Fury coming in within the next couple of minutes?
No, I think you know, the Devour's Gloves are still a little ways off, and needs to get the stacks up to have that additional lifesteal. So, you know, you're still maybe 4 or 5 minutes, but, you know, maybe in around the 13-minute range, you could see an attempt at it at least, or they may even rotate over a tank just for safekeeping. But already that Blood Lash hitting for about 400 damage on these minions for Sayo, and you see him hit auto-attacking for 120. He uses that red pot in the early game to just try to start that snowball, and you know, will he put it together or not is really the question. And that all really only Sayo knows right now. Zalia actually, here's an interesting thing. He's going to go Heartseeker on the Hercules, so they're going to be going a much more damage-focused build on the Hercules in the Soul Lane. They want those boulders to be big. They're going to be relying on that in the team fights to really help them deal with that big Zeus and Athena combination. And
look at currently the level difference we have going over for SK right now. I mean, Sayo, level 11, as we do see this
a great kill coming out.
But Mugiwawa, level 8, and Proxy QQ, level 10. So Sayo actually has, I think, a good 1 to 2 level advantage over him, and that's got to be a really bad sign. That means COG has to make some big play happen, and maybe a Gold Fury for themselves would be an option, since they do have, or they did have their dual lane middle.
Yeah, I mean, they are winning. I mean, they have. The gold is in their lead by a little bit under 1,000, and the XP is in their lead by about 1,500, 1,600. You know, it fluctuates very quickly as the players take their camps, but you know, it doesn't really feel like they have a huge advantage at this point. They do have the experience advantage is starting to show. They're starting to get into their second items here. Voidstone coming up, Respite of Valor, Heartseeker, and Voidblade, respectively, on Restarian, Sprayar, Game Hunter, and Proxy, but. You know, will it be enough to stop the mid-game presence of the Kali is what it all comes down to. That's the drama of this match, is can Sayo take this out of control? And we shall see develop over about the next 10 minutes here, ladies and gentlemen. Will SK be able to take this one down and go undefeated in the group stage?
Actually, I'm trying to think, if they do even lose this game, it means you'll have COG and them at 2 and 1. Vengeance can only win 1 game now, which put them at 1 and 2, and then Bipolar is 1 and 1. So we could have like a 3-way tie, which is going to be settled based on time, if I'm not mistaken. But right now, we do see a fight breaking out.
Yeah, Proxy will go down. Thor is dead. Too deep on the initiation. They're going to find Sayo as well. He's going to go down. The Neith ultimate, in fact, being channeled. They really want that. I know it's going to be blocked, but it's going to end up in the double kill. And now Restarian trying to disengage, but Zalia is on him, and down will go Restarian. Turning around on a Mugiwawa now is their attention. Smek, no, they prefer to go on Spray. There is Suntouch with his ultimate. Will they be able to find the Ra? They're looking for him still. There's the Earthbreaker bringing him back. Do they have driving strength? They don't, but it's going to be a Spirit Ball. Not enough just yet. Sprayar doing a great job kiting. He's going to actually disjoint the Shibalanke Rising Jaguar, I believe that's called. And his snipe's going to come in from behind, and he's going to find Shibalanke. Also going to pop his own beads, and that's going to be that. A really, really nice play coming out from Sprayar there for that disengage.
In the end, that was, I believe, a 2 for 2, so no one really coming out too far ahead in that, it looks like. And Suntouch looks like he's going to go back to push this, or actually pushing back his lane out. And not too surprised that we haven't seen too much turret damage go down just yet. I mean, the lowest turret is over on that left side of the map where SK is. It's about half health.
Yeah, we got about 400 damage coming out from Game Hunter onto that turret. You know, they haven't really put out huge numbers just yet, but you know, we'll see him continue to push up here and maybe be able to take this tower down, or they'll rotate some people over here and really look to get aggressive against it.
We're approaching that 13-minute mark, and this is where you're expecting to see Gold Fury potentially done out of Sayo. He's actually pushing up right now. He might actually catch someone here. They do have 3 members against the 2, and we do have Zeus coming in from the side here. Looks like they're going for a fight.
Yeah, here it comes in. The ultimate is being used by Zeus. He's built the stacks. The detonate will do a lot of damage here, and they'll pick up at least 2. Looking for a third here now as well. There's the Nethal coming out on Sayo, and it looks like this next detonate's not going to stun him out because he's in the ultimate, and that is really what Kali's main strength is her damage and her slipperiness, but not slippery enough. 3 for nothing traded to Cog EU. I guess not a trade at all, is it? And they're going to hopefully, I imagine, transition over to the Gold Fury on the back of this.
I'd hope so. Right now, they're still not going for it just yet. You would definitely think so, but it looks like they're going to group up towards this top side. They actually might go for a different objective of the turret, or the tower kind, or sort. And right now, Hercules there trying to defend it, but can he defend against the 5? And I would say most likely not.
Yeah, no, so they'll take that early tower, and they may still look to go for the for that Gold Fury. Remains to be seen. Zeus wearing his red anklet there. Some extra damage for Restarian. And, you know, no ultimate available, so maybe they'll wait until those come back up and then try to take another team fight, as that Zeus ult has just been so strong in both of the games we've seen Zeus in.
Well, now he's 4-3-2, so he's definitely got up a lot of gold and a lot of kills under his belt. 7,200 net so far. See a 3-2-4 Proxy, a 1-0-3 Game Hunter, a 0-0-1 Sprayarn, and a 0-0-8 Mugiwa, who was really underleveled, still is decently underleveled, I guess you'd say. Then again, it's kind of a support tank. It doesn't really matter in the end. And 0-0-8 is a fantastic score.
Yeah, that's where you want to be as a support tank, definitely. Both him and Gortok sitting about 350 XP a minute, down from 600 on Restarian. Top on SK is 465 to Sayo, so Restarian really starting to pull ahead on this Zeus, and that could really spell trouble. As you see him hitting level 15 there, right next to Game Hunter, who is about 10 XP behind him. So it should be, looking at the graph, a pretty significant XP advantage, about 2,500 gold and an experience, or 3K experience going the way of Cog EU. So far, ladies and gentlemen, this is it looks like Cog really wants to get their second win in this group stage.
They're going to need it, to be honest. I mean, if they want to be able to move into those rounds. Game Hunter does kill Sun Touch over there.
Yeah, he finds a kill on that Isis.
What is he going to be able to make off of that?
You know, they can't really continue pushing this lane very much. You know, they may look to group up once again and find their Gold Fury attempts. We're going to see a detonate come out from Sayo, some auto attacks as well. Gold to stack right back up and force that Shibalanke out of the lane. Kali going to rotate over, but I don't think there's too much that Kali can do at this point. Auto attacks once again coming into this tower. Proxy and Mugi are there, and it looks like Cog wants to commit to some sort of push strat. A lot of damage going to come out on the side with this detonate. Ultimate going to be channeled as well. Will it be enough to pick up the Kali? It will not right away. Will the chain lightning hit? It will. And now we're going to see another detonate doing a lot of damage to Smek. Follow up from Athena. In comes Thor. No stun coming out just yet. They still are looking for it, but they'll find the tower. Proxy QQ will pick up Gortok, and Smek will be falling as well. Here is Zalia in quite a bit of trouble, but Hercules with that tanky presence should be okay for the moment. Sayo going to pour back in and look to clean up. Here he comes. Has the speed buff, can find Restarian. There's the ultimate as well, but I just don't think he has enough. Can he really 1v4 at this point in the game? I don't think so, and that's a dead Sayo, and that is not a snowballing Kali. That is a Kali that is going to be very easy to pick off, unfortunately, for SK. And now Spray continues in, throwing out his ultimate, and there's only 2 members of SK alive on the board right now, but still no primary map objectives being attempted here by the gentlemen of Cog EU. Gold Fury still standing all lonely in her pit.
But she's got a lot of money.
She does. She's
got a lot of gold. She's got to be happy. But, you know, Cog, if you look at them, they've been just taking fights here and there. They've been slowly building up their advantage over time, and now 12-6 with the lead. They have built up almost 5,000 gold difference, almost 6,000 experience difference. If they keep this pace up, like, they're going to be able to be the first team to beat SK here today. Yeah,
they're pulling pretty far ahead. But don't count SK out. I mean, they won that last game, and it was pretty dire for them, and they won one team fight and took the game down.
That's very true.
You know, just because of a couple of disadvantageous choices from Bipolar Method. Now they're going to get some nice push over here this right side lane. I'm not sure if they can respond in time. This tower may be falling in favor of Spray. Yes, he's going to go all in on it. And now how is he going to get out of this sticky situation is the question. They're not. They're going to look to fight it appears, because Athena Ultimate's coming in. He's cutting around. There's a driving strike on both of them, and the follow-up ult is so strong from Sprayon. There's one kill, and this may be a very, very poor decision. Mugi gonna look like he's gonna get out of here just barely, running back towards actually the enemy, and gonna look to suicide into the tower here, and he will be successful, it appears. Yeah, and the tower will pick up a kill onto Mugi, so he denies himself fairly well from the enemy team.
Not to mention, I mean, we've seen SK kind of do something like this a little bit earlier on, or we've seen teams do this earlier on, I guess I'll say, where a team will extend a little bit too far, lose 1 or 2 people, and the game get turned around at that point. But then again, we're only 18 minutes in, and we do have COG, actually, sorry, not COG, SK going for a push here onto middle, and I honestly don't think that turret's going to stand too long.
Yeah, no, if they can pick up this Zeus and prevent him from detonating again, it doesn't look like they can just yet, as Proxy's going to come back in on the back of that, and this is getting ugly for SK. Barely getting out of there is the Hercules, but now Gortek in trouble. The boulder over the wall is going to be enough to pick up Zeus. What a throw by Zalia, and now the stun comes in from Suntouch. Will they be able to disengage gracefully here, or will they be able to find the tower still? Proxy trying to fight Suntouch in the back of this fight. Neath ultimate coming out. A lot of damage going to happen. Proxy finally having that game with Thor that he's been looking for this whole tournament. We haven't really seen Thor do that well, but this game appears to be the game for Thor.
Yeah, and right now, I think that was, in the end, a 3 for 3, if I'm not mistaken, or very close to it.
I think a very, very delayed, no, a 3 for 2.
3 for 2?
I don't think they eventually picked up Mugi, so that apparently is what they were looking for to go after this Gold Fury, and in they go. It's going to be Ra and Neath throwing in those auto attacks, and the first Gold Fury of the map appears to be going the way of COG EU.
Not to mention even more gold from that. I mean, sitting at 5,500 lead over here. Actually, not 5,500. Yeah, actually, no, it is. Okay, I was expected to go up a little bit more for some reason after that gold.
No, it's just updated.
Oh, it did update. Okay, so 7,000 now. Sorry, I was looking at my screen. Their experience difference, though, it went down a little bit, but they've been able to build up even more, approaching 8,000 in terms of levels across the board. You know, 18, 18, 17, 16, 13, to the 17, 15, 16, 15, 12. And they are just slowly, not slowly, I mean, they've been doing it steadily throughout this entire game, but taking this game in their hands.
Yeah, this one seems to be slipping away from SK for the moment. You know, what will they be able to do? They've picked this very, very aggressive snowballing pick. It hasn't worked out for them. And you know, one thing to consider is that this comes down to the time of the game. So if this game needs to be fast for, really, I think Bipolar Method has the hardest time, right? In the next game, they have to win their next game. They need to do it fast because they had that super long game against SK.
If they lose that game, they'll be tied with Vengeance at 1 and 2. And honestly, you don't really want to be the first team to go out in this tournament, or you don't want to be actually the last two, because then you obviously lose the chance at getting the 7,500 euros. But over on this left side of the map, we do just have the range carries just going at it against each other. Yeah. And we've kind of easily transitioned out of that laning phase as we have quite a few turrets already going down.
It's going to be a very tanky Thor build here for Proxy. He's going to go hide the Nemean Lion on top of his Void Blade, and now moving into a Bulwark as well. So wants to cover all of his bases, physical and magical protection. Not too keen on falling. Really needs to stay alive during these team fights, he feels, to really best benefit his team. So tanky it is. Now the only tier 2 towers remaining now for SK. Game Hunter going to be spotted out by Isis. The Athena ult being used. Suntouch wants to stay in, going to use his ultimate and does pop it off right away. Game Hunter going to go down to that combo from Hercules. 634 damage on that boulder. They're now looking for Mugi. Will they find him in the jungle as well? They need to find a kill onto the Zeus, but he's just too fast with that Aegis, and away he goes. But let's take a look here at this right side tower, starting to fall very, very quickly. The port coming in, but it's not going to be in time. Driving strike from Hercules is going to stop that Berserker Barrage, but Spray and Proxy pick up a tower there on that split push. Very nice stuff.
Yeah, and they were able to respawn. I mean, that could have gone a lot worse if they just didn't kind of rush for that turret right there. And right now, take us through the items a little bit, because we honestly haven't talked about it in quite a while. We see almost complete builds finished up here, as a lot of people already at 4, even 5 items in over on COG's side. Yeah,
so you're looking at, you know, the very tanky style of Thor. You have Game Hunter going for the double stacking item and execution, very standard from what we've seen in play for range carry so far. This is pretty much the exact same game they played in the game they won over Vengeance. They have the Focus Void Stone on Spray, they have the regular Void Stone on Restarian, both of them with Breastplate of Valor, and Mugiwara just trying to basically get a sovereignty before the game ends. And they've done it. But the thing is, once again, Suntouch is going to go for this early Radachi Hootie build that we saw from his Poseidon as well, so he seems to really favor that big burst presence, and once he gets that up and running, they can win some team fights, and if they win team fights, great things can happen.
Does this mean we could potentially see a Fire Giant coming up soon for them? Because they have a huge lead. They have the ability to ward it up and see any other wards that SK might put down, and that might give them the confidence, I guess, to go for a final push, or at least for a Phoenix?
Or
is it still too early in the game?
I don't know. I don't know if the teams are cognizant of really considering heavily the idea that they need to win these games quickly to have the best chance of moving on to the finals. I think they are looking for the wins. So I think, COG has to win this game to get their second win of the group stage and go 2-1. So I think they're more of a win at any cost, where SK maybe has looked to do something a little bit more inventive. But Xiblanco is going to use, as will Thor's ult coming in. They want to find a kill on to really anyone they can. Proxy's coming back in with Athena now. The Isis ultimate has been used. The Neath ultimate coming out as well. The Snipe comes through doing a lot of damage, and Suntouch gets bursted down by both Proxy and that Neath. And this is going to be 2 big kills on really the 2 big disruptors. And the Hand of the God, rank 3 on Gortok, is down. I hope they transition back to the Fire Giant because they have a really great opportunity right now. They don't have that God with the Hand of the Gods rank 3, but they have one of their own, so they pretty much are guaranteed this kill if they run in. But it looks like that's not going to be the case. They want to keep hunting kills. Maybe a little bit greedy here for COG. If it works out, they'll be geniuses. If it doesn't, it'll be like, why have you done that? They find a kill on the Sayo. Is that enough? Is killing 3 of the enemy team enough to go in? And it appears it is not. They'd rather split push the left side lane before. Now we are going to see the Fire Giant. Okay, here it goes. Thor has gone in, and he's calling for the rest of the team. And now they're going to start initiating. They do have Zalia with that Hercules Boulder. There's a small chance to pick up the kill if they botch the Hand of the Gods. But honestly, I think they just ignore him and should just take this in his face. Maybe throw out a Thor stun just as it gets low. But once again, with that Hand of the Gods, they kill this thing at 25% health for Mugiwara. Unless he botches this, there's really no way for Hercules to steal it. Here's the boulder coming in.
Yeah, it's coming in, but it's not going to be enough. And COG, you do pick it up. Now they're going to turn and burn here. Maybe try to go for a push with the regen off of that. And I think that might have been the final nail in the coffin of SK. Obviously didn't let it go, but they really couldn't contest it too much. And COG grouped up as 5, ahead in items, ahead in gold, ahead in experience. 10,000 each minimum. Yeah. I think they're going to look to close out the game here. Yeah, at least pick up a Phoenix.
That's scary. Yeah, I mean, they should probably push right down the middle here. They have Sayo coming in 10 seconds, but they have the stronger team fight and the Fire Giant buff. They're going to be so hard to take. And if they can somehow, I mean, if SK tries to fight them not under the tower, it's going to be really ugly for them. I mean, we have seen stands be made. Ooh, an accidental hit of the Aegis there from Resty. That's unfortunate. He's not going to have that available.
I think he's baiting him in. He's like, oh no, I don't have my Aegis. Come get me.
Aegis. I guess we're not old. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's mind games. Oh, here comes the Proxy ult, and let's take a ride with the Thor as he finds his target. Where will you go, young Proxy? Who will you find? And will they make plays on the back? But it's going to be Thor going in. He doesn't want to go too deep. They're going to find the stun there, but it's actually going to lock them out. Xiblanco is being used. Sprayarn finds a snipe onto Zalia. Another great play by Spray there. Sayo wants to come in and do his damage, but he's just taking so much the detonate will blow him up. And now with the regen, continue on for the Fire Giant and losing gods left and right. Down goes Suntouch. Only Xiblanco available. This could be a victory coming out in just a moment from COG EU. Will they have enough to take out the Guardian without the Fire Minions? I don't know if they can face tank it, but they're certainly going to do their best. Jason, it looks like SK is not unbeatable, and they're going to lose a game perhaps here in the group stage.
Yeah, you just saw in that last fight, the regen off the Fire Giant alone just kept them so healthy. SK just could not do enough damage to finally pick them off and able to pull out a perfect team fight, and not to mention a perfect win out of them. 22-9 in kills. Just fantastic. 58,000 or almost 59,000 gold to 45,000 gold. That was just a very one-sided game, I have to say.
Yeah, we look at the boys celebrating now, and it was one-sided all the way. Sayo had that small advantage in the early game, but as you see...
well, Kali had, Kali,
yeah,
like just saying, had a huge advantage early on. It had the 1-0-1, had the damage about the red pot early on, got a lot of jungle camps cleared out, but the thing is, maybe just overextended once or twice too far, and then he got picked off, and that stopped it.
Yeah, from behind, she just doesn't have it. Ahead, a steamroll, a freight train, so hard to stop, but from behind, it's just so squishy. It doesn't have the damage to make you scared and not try to turn around and attack her. It's really hard to deal with as that Kali to find that damage. So Zalia does quite well, however, for Bipolar, I'm sorry, the UI here, for SK, going 5-2-1 and farming a respectable 10k gold, but at the end of the day, COG EU finds another victory with Zeus in this tournament. That seems to be, also they find the first win for Thor in the tournament, I believe.
And if you're SK, like, what do you look back on that, or how do you look back on that? Like, do you kind of look at it like, you know, we kind of just lost from the beginning, like there's not much more we can do than that, or was there something prominently wrong in their strategy that just completely made them lose?
Knowing those guys, they're probably going to say, Sayo, you don't get to choose what you pick anymore. Because Sayo loves Kali, it's his favorite god, and he wanted to play her, and it looks like it didn't work out for them. So they'll probably go back to more standard picks but that could lead us into a potential for a three-way tie for first place. If Vengeance is able to win this game, they will effectively keep Bipolar Method out of any chance against the finals. However, if Bipolar takes it down, they will have to go to the three-way tiebreak, which is based on total time of completion. Shortest time wins, or the top two shortest times of games will move on. So that hour-long game between SK and Bipolar could end up having a lot of really bearing in who goes on to play in the finals.
Yeah, and I don't want to count Vengeance out, but the way Bipolar's look today, the way Vengeance kind of looked today, with the constant fighting, the constant, I think we can take this fight. I think we got this. And then just losing that fight, going back into another one over and over.
Yeah.
I think we might have that three-way tie coming in.
We may be seeing that, and then we'll have to defer to our lovely admins to sort out who will indeed move on to the finals, which will be a best of three. We are finalizing our group stage here now, ladies and gentlemen. And we will hear back from the stage here in just a moment. Before we head over there, let me say thank you to Jason for joining me today. My name is HiRezBart. This is Jason Kaplan from ESL, and we've had a blast bringing you the coverage of the group stage. We're moving into our final game here in just a moment. It is going to be the fine gentlemen of Vengeance Gaming going up against Bipolar Method. But just before that, we're going to head back to stage for a player interview. Stay around. We're having fun. We'd love you to be here too.
Thank you, guys. What a thrilling game. You just took out the favorite of this tournament. I have to ask you that terrible, cheesy question. How do you feel?
I feel fucking amazing. We are in the finals right now, and it's just so nice that Cognitive gave me the chance to play with them on this tournament, and it just feels super good.
Now, you are a substitute for this tournament, so what was the practice like beforehand? Did you have to do a lot of studying, or did you just cram in a bunch of matches?
Well, yeah, we practiced a lot the last 2 weeks. We played weekly tournaments as well. That kind of improved us. And yeah, now we're going to see what's happening in finals.
So what does your future look like with these guys? Do you think you're going to stick around?
Of course.
Can't wait to see. We're going to go to a short commercial break. When we come back, we've got one more match, and then we're going to head into our finals. Don't go anywhere.